come from interacting with people. But now the shutdown doesn't just affect your ability to sell in that way. It also affects your ability to access your suppliers. So that has been the worst thing for me.
Hey guys, welcome to the Likeminds Instagram live series broadcast, where we talk and chat to various entrepreneurs and find out how they're managing their businesses and brands through this pandemic. Today we have CEO and founder of Atara Beauty, Kory Shukrani, and we talked to her on the topic of pivoting a product-based business. Enjoy.
So all from that page, you'll be able to DM. There is an online store as well, so you can, go wild. You can do whatever you'd like. I have a link in bio as well, like a link tree, so you can share, you can decide what you'd like, whether you want to email or buy my products or just chat.
Okay, so let's have the bigger conversation, then maybe we can get more people up to speed with what you do and just where you're coming from. Because right now you're having a one-on-one with RT attorney. But like I said, this is our second session. For those of y'all who were tuned in yesterday, I hope you'll enjoy that. I think, Kory, you're tuned in as well. Yeah. So we're definitely going to have something interesting today because we want to speak about how to pivot a product-based business in these COVID times. Like, what is your next general direction with everything, right? So, but I think let's start with, what do you do? Just give people a short intro about yourself and what you do, and then we can just build into it.
Okay, cool. So I am Kory still, and I founded Atara Beauty. I actually changed it from Atara Hair Care to Atara Beauty. I started with hair care, and I still am very much, that is my focus. And I actually call it a self-care company because I started with the notion that I think women could do better, and we are like the primary caregivers of the people in our lives. Generally, we're nurturers, so we tend to give a lot more than we maybe take for ourselves. And so I see hair care self-care, and that is our slogan. And I actually see Atara as a self-care company. Atara stands for crown, and I made it.
What language?
In Hebrew. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I made it. I was given the name a long time ago. Let me start there. I was given the name a long time ago, and I just saw a vision of just women gathered together and different women standing up and sharing their stories and their stories, and that it was such an empowerment to the rest of the people in the room. And I didn't know back then, but when I had this idea and I started growing my own hair with the natural products that I have, and specifically oils, that is what I have found has changed the game for hair growth. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to focus on oils. I'm not trying to be your next hair conditioner. And this is what I've seen changes my hair completely. I'm not trying to replace these guys. I'm trying to enhance and complement them. And so when people started asking me, what do I do with my hair? How have I been growing it? I'm like, okay, I'm going to put this in a bottle and put a label on it and share the story behind it and make it with love. And I think a lot of people would benefit from this. And I think a lot of people would appreciate this because the ingredients are completely natural. That's how it started, and it's now I specialize in hair oils, but obviously oils are good for skin, are good for so many things, and so it's evolved into this self-care way of living, whether it's 5 minutes or not, because a lot of people say I either don't have time or I don't have money. And so part of the education that we share is also in how to make self-care accessible, like kind of democratized, make long hair democratized, and accessible, and also efficient and easy for people. So yeah, that's what I found, but I have a background in many things. I'm a multi-potentialite. So, yeah, I think let's...
Yeah, very... Okay. Yeah, but I'm sure we'll have a conversation on that some other time. But for today, we really just want to speak about Atara Beauty, right? And your journey as an entrepreneur, because our last conversation we had, you were talking to me about influencers and moving your product. And today, and that was almost 3 weeks ago at the Yoko Summit. And then today we're speaking about, okay, now that we're in this crisis, how do we move product? Or what is your next step from here? I mean, I think a lot of people are suffering with the same thing. I had a conversation with someone that I know who was telling me their income streams have been affected because most of their income was generated through in-person means of transaction, right? So that really has, kind of killed business for a lot of people. But we had the conversation of you're trying to do something else and move past this, what we would call a barrier, right? So I think my big question here is how has this affected you, first of all?
So yeah, when we had this conversation at Yoko, when it was let's be careful, at the event. Let's be careful, Corona has reached South Africa, but little did we know it was going to be a full-on shutdown. And I think no one predicted that, because after the first announcement, people started panicking. And I am it depends on the situation, but I'm not easily a panicker. And so I tend to be the optimist in the situation. I'm it's going to be fine. It's going to be it's going to pass. It's okay. Not that Corona, but I just mean I was still optimistic. And then when a full-on shutdown was announced, the thing about this shutdown is it doesn't just stop sales. So when I became an entrepreneur, I didn't have much of a plan when I quit my corporate job. I knew I was going to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't sit and do a 50-page business plan. I was I need to continue doing what I do best, and that's how I'm going to get business. And I didn't have an income for a while. So I'm used to living off less, having to hustle or whatever. But the thing about the situation is it doesn't just stop your ability to sell, because yes, an online store is nice, but most of my sales actually happen from talking to people and interacting with them and sharing my passion, right? That's what you will do as an entrepreneur at any given moment. And so a lot of my sales or income would come from interacting with people. But now the shutdown doesn't just affect your ability to sell in that way. It also affects your ability to access your suppliers. So that has been the worst thing for me, is not having access to my suppliers. And some of my bottles, as simple as they are, the little tiny things that go in there, come from China. So and when I started, okay, I need to make some plans. I need to make some moves. When I started that situation, obviously there were thousands of people who are also businesses who went straight to the same suppliers and were we want to use these containers for hand sanitizer. So that quite a bit up. But still, I still have my stock. I can sell that stock, but I now can't deliver. So it's these peripheral services that actually service a business and allow it to keep going, that is one of the biggest messes up. Because if I would still be selling. If I could still be getting from my supplier, I wouldn't even be sweating this. I'd be like, cool. I mean, I've survived not earning money for a while. That's not the problem, and I'm not in the worst off position as opposed to. I do have like other streams of income. I'm not saying they're huge, but there's something, and that keeps me, like calmer. But now it definitely presents a much bigger challenge, and it's going
for Atara, right?
For Atara and for the future, because as I'm alluding to, that even after this shutdown is over, there's going to be an aftermath. There's going to be an after effect, and so I'm definitely going to have to pivot. That's it. I'm going to have to pivot and think differently and think out what else I can provide.
Yeah, I can imagine how difficult that must be, because now it's like it means something different for your business. Atara can never be the same. So you can't just operate like, it's business as usual. So like, I think now is the big question. How are you going to pivot? Like, what is your game plan? Or if you have one, at least, let's talk around, like, how are you planning to go forward with this?
So, I can't predict the future. So, like, I next moment be able to have access to my suppliers that I need to get for my stuff, and then everything's fine and hunky-dory. But I need to think of the worst case scenario. And what I can say is I'm grateful that I started off already with an open mind in the first place. And I had a big vision for it. I'm going to keep it hair care, and that's it. I didn't predict this situation, obviously, but at least I'm glad that I went broad with the whole self-care idea, because that's really what I saw. I saw that hair care is just one of the pain points, but a much bigger thing here. And there's there's so many ways to serve and to lead your community right now in this time and empathize and be with them, right? So, I mean, your business in essence is solving a pain point. And so the pain currently now is everyone feels the same fear. So what can I do to help in this realm of expertise? I'm not trying to be everything to everyone, but there is plenty of self-care material that I can now start creating and making for my community, so that I can now be in that bigger vision, that bigger picture. So I guess I'm moving to my bigger picture of what Atara is going to be much quicker because of this, and so I saw a funny meme today on Instagram saying what for your company go digital, like the CEO, the CFO, the brand manager, and then it was multiple choice, and person circled Corona. And so, basically what I'm doing is, since I can't physically sell, I need to be digital, and I need to be offering my community material, self-care guides, self-care resources, sharing information with them, because like them, I'm also human, and I'm right there with them, feeling the same things. And by the time we get out of, you also want to be top of mind in terms of I was there for you guys. We were in this together. We were, we cared about the same things. We were going through the same things, and we supported one another. And now, when this thing is over, we have a relationship. And I think that is what is really important. If you're a business right now that has the ability to connect and you're keeping quiet, in fact, every business, every brand, like your brother said yesterday, which I really loved, is that the difference between a brand and a business, the meaning. And so if you're really a brand, You can't afford to be keeping quiet in this time. You should be talking to your people. Like, make it digital. People are craving connection, right? In this time. So connect has to be one by one, checking on your people and feeding them with what may be able to help them. I think that's really important.
And that's all we have for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Follow us on all our social medias to get alerts on this type of content at Likeminds Tribe. Visit our website to sign up to be part of our community. It's www.likemindstribe.co.za. And that's all from me, your host, Matthew Rolls, signing up.